Welcome into the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Today, we play two as your Washington Wild Things take on the Gateway Grizzlies in Game 1 of a doubleheader today starting at 6:05. Hello everyone, I'm Zach Ziegler taking you through the entire 2016 season for your Washington Wild Things. A doubleheader today, games 1 and 2 of a 3-game series versus the Gateway Grizzlies, playing 7 innings today as opposed to 9, but we got 2 great games for you coming up here on the MSA Sports Network. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show. Coming up, we're going to recap the wild 11-inning win for your Washington Wild Things in Sunday's game where they defeated the Schaumburg Boomers by a score of 5-4, salvaging one game of that 3-game series. So that's coming up. Also a sit-down with first baseman Logan Uxa. Went 2 for 4 in the game on Sunday, so he joins us on the pregame show. Also going to take a look at the lineups, the first pitch, and we have some news from around the Frontier League. It's all coming up right here on the Washington Wild Things pregame show. On Sunday, a wild 11-inning fare for your Washington Wild Things, but they would come out on top by a final score of 5-4. The first couple innings for both starting pitchers, Luke Wilkins and Keegan Hopkins, were very good. The Wild Things had their first 9 batters set 9 up, 9 down, would total up to 11 Washington Wild Things retired to start the game before they would get their first hit in inning number 4. But Dave Popkins would strike out to end that 4th inning. For Luke Wilkins on the mound, he just allowed a walk in the first inning after getting a ground out and a strikeout, and then he got a fly out to end the inning. In the second, he allowed a single, then a fielder's choice, and 2 strikeouts ended that inning, and he retired the Boomers 1-2-3 in inning number 3, and in the 4th, just allowed a walk, 2 flyouts, and a fly out to end the inning. So after 4, each team only had 1 hit in the contest, and no runs had been scored to that point. The Schaumburg Boomers would get on the board first, as in the bottom of inning number 6, Zach Weigel started things off with a walk against Luke Wilkins. Then he got all the way to third on a wild pitch that got by catcher Kyle Pollock, rolled all the way to the dugout for the Schaumburg Boomers, and Weigel moved all the way up to third. Then Austin Wobrock bailing out Luke Wilkins, making a diving catch at the shortstop position to hold Weigel at third base with 1 out before Kenny Towns came up with an RBI single that would score Weigel and make it 1-0 Schaumburg. Then after that, Paul Kroenfeld and Dusty Robinson would strike out to end the inning. Boomers would strike again in the bottom of the 7th as things started off with a walk by Mark Nelson. Then Nick Lynch doubled to put runners at second and third and nobody out. James Keller would pop out to the pitcher, and Nick King would hit into a fielder's choice that got Mark Nelson thrown out at home plate. So with 2 outs, there were runners at first and third, and Zach Weigel came in with an RBI single. That scored Nick Lynch and gave the Boomers a 2-0 lead. Jordan Dean would strike out to end that 7th inning. Then the Wild Things responded as in the top of the 8th they got on the board. Logan Uxa led off with a double before Kyle Pollock came through with an RBI single to score Uxa and make it 2-1. Austin Wobrock would hit into a 4-6-3 double play. Andrew Heck would double, and then Ricky Rodriguez would pop out to end that 8th inning. Going to the 9th, your Wild Things were down by 1 with Dexter Price coming into the game for the Schaumburg Boomers. Price has had 5 saves before coming in to Sunday's game, but he would end up blowing the save as he gave up a leadoff double to Brian Haar, and Dave Popkins drove Haar in with an RBI single that would tie the game at 2. The Wild Things would continue to threaten in the inning, however, as Nick Ferdinand singled and Jimmy Yezzo hit into a fielder's choice, but then Logan Uxa would hit into a 1-6-3 double play that would end that 9th inning. So we went to extra innings with the score tied at 2. It was the second Wild Things extra inning game. They had played one earlier in the season when they lost in 13 innings to the Lake Erie Crushers, but they're going in extra innings again. In the 10th inning, it was a strikeout and a flyout to lead things off for the Wild Things before Andrew Heck would walk, and then Ricky Rodriguez grounded out to end the inning. And for the Schaumburg Boomers, they went 1-2-3 on 3 flyouts as Colin Stanley came in to face them. Then in the 11th inning, the Wild Things would break the 2-2 tie. Their courtesy runner Ricky Rodriguez started the inning at second base. Brian Haar would strike out, but the 2-3 putout would move Rodriguez over to third, and then Dave Popkins came through with a sacrifice fly that made the the score 3-2 Wild Things. Then Nick Ferdinand would walk and move up to second on a wild pitch before Jimmy Yezzo delivered the big blow. Two-run home run over the right field wall that gave the Wild Things a 5-2 lead. Logan Uxa and Kyle Pollock would have back-to-back singles following that before Austin Wolbrock would ground out to end the inning. Then in the bottom of the 11th, the Schaumburg Boomers trying to fight back in this one, as their courtesy runner to start the inning was Jordan Dean. He would come in on the second pitch of the 11th inning as Kenny Towns hit an RBI double that scored Jordan Dean and made the score 5-3. Then Paul Kroenfeld would fly out and Dusty Robinson would walk. So there'd be runners at first and second with one away. Chris Robinson would strike out, and then Nick Lynch was hit by a pitch to load the bases. And then with that, Devin Davis entered the game. Davis walked the first batter he faced. That brought in a run and made the score 5-4, but he would redeem himself as he got pinch hitter Michael Hill, to ground out to end the game. The final score, the Wild Things got the 5-4 win. The win went to Colin Stanley, and Devin Davis picked up his first save of the year. Zach Rotz pitched earlier in that game, throwing 2 2/3 innings, not giving up a run. He pitched he got the Wild Things out of the 7th and pitched the 8th and the 9th inning as well, so he was not available for the save. So Devin Davis gets his first save. Colin Stanley his third win of the season. We're going to take our first break here on the Washington Wild Things pregame show. When we come back, we'll be joined by first baseman Logan Uxa, 2 for 4 in that game with a walk against the Schaumburg Boomers on Sunday. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network, and catch every Wild Things game, home and away, throughout the entire 2016 season here on your home for Wild Things baseball, the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show. Currently joined by Logan Uxa. And Logan, on Sunday, you went 2 for 4 against the Schaumburg Boomers in that wild extra inning game. Can you talk about what was working for you at the plate that day?
I was just trying to use the middle of the field. I've been kind of dead pull earlier this year, and I just tried to use the middle of the field. And it was a big win for us. It was a fun win, and it was a good day.
Hey, you're in the on-deck circle as Jimmy Yezzo steps in. There's a guy on. You guys are up by 1. What are you thinking for your at-bat after Yezzo?
They just brought in a lefty to face me and Yezzo, so I was just trying to get a good look at the lefty. Then Yezzo took care of business, though, so it was good. He smoked that.
And what are your thoughts as you see that one go off the bat and over the wall? What's going through your mind at that moment?
Oh, it was awesome because it was a no-doubter once he left the bat. First pitch was the backstop, and the next pitch was a fastball down the middle, and he crushed it. So it was pretty cool, and especially because it was the 11th inning. It was good to get those 3 runs and get out of there with the W.
And you guys get that comeback win after losing the first 2 games of that series. What does that do for your confidence heading into this 6-game homestand?
It helps us a lot. We were able to get out of there with the W, which avoid the sweep, and against a good team like that too. It's just good to scratch and claw for a W and then get back here and hopefully play well at home.
And you and Yezzo throughout the entire season have been balancing the DH and first base role. How do you prepare for a game knowing you're going to be a DH as opposed to knowing you're going to be the first baseman?
The preparation is still the same. Just during BP, you're probably working a little more ground balls if you're playing the field that day. But, the cage work, tee work, and, swings, BP, it's all kind of the same thing. And you just kind of show up to the yard and go from there.
And finally, going into this doubleheader today, how do you pace yourself having to play 2 games instead of just 1 in the day?
It's just in that first inning, you just got to know that you got 14 more ahead of you, not 9. So it's not bad, honestly. It's 2 9s actually goes by a little quicker than you think, and it's fun.
Thanks, Logan. Good luck today.
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll be right back here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We ensure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, getting you ready for Game 1 of a doubleheader between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies here from Consol Energy Park, starting a 6-game homestand for your Washington Wild Things. 2 today, Game 3 we play tomorrow, and then the Wild Things welcome in the Florence Freedom for the first of a 3-game series, July 1st through July 3rd. So the Wild Things home this week. Come out to the park. Lots of great giveaways this week, giving away first we have fireworks night on Friday night. Right after the game, you'll see a fireworks show. Then on Saturday, the first 1,000 fans get a pair of sunglasses. And on Sunday, it's Kids Day. The kids run the bases. So lots happening here at Consol Energy Park. Going to take a look at the lineups today for both these teams. First, for the visiting Gateway Grizzlies, they enter with a record of 19-20. They'll lead off with their left fielder, Cody Livesey. Batting second at second base, Seth Heck. Batting third and playing at first base, Craig Massoni. Batting fourth in center field, Brandon Thomas. Hitting fifth behind the plate, Tyler Toole. Batting sixth in right field, Blake Brown. Batting seventh, designated hitter Ben Waldrop. Batting eighth at third base, John Bunselmeyer. And batting ninth at shortstop is Logan Davis. On the mound for the Gateway Grizzlies is Vince Molesky. Molesky enters this one with a record of 2-2 and a 2.88 ERA. For your Washington Wild Things, they come into this one with a record of 20-18. They'll lead off with center fielder Jamal Austin. Batting second at third base, Ricky Rodriguez. Hitting third at second, Brian Haar. Batting fourth in right field, Dave Popkins. Hitting fifth and left, Nick Ferdinand. Batting sixth, designated hitter Jimmy Yezzo. Hitting seventh at first, Logan Uxa. Batting eighth and catching, Kyle Pollock. And batting ninth at shortstop, Austin Wobrock. On the mound for your Washington Wild Things will be Trevor Foss. Enters this one with a record of 5-2 and a 2.13 ERA. About ready for first pitch, but first, going to send you down to the field for tonight's national anthem. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
We're Washington Wild Things. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please rise. Gentlemen and boys, please remove your caps. Today's State Line Grocery Hotspot first pitch will be coming up, but first, let's hear from Mary Leisure. She will sing the national anthem. Mary?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets the most soothing came proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sing us that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of brave and the home of the brave.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, about ready for first pitch here in Game 1 of this doubleheader between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. The Wild Things take the field aligning like this. In the outfield left to right, Ferdinand, Austin, and Popkins. Left side of the infield held down by Rodriguez and Walbrock. Right side by Haar and Uxa, and behind the plate, Kyle Pollock. Catching today's starter, Trevor Foss. Foss enters this one with a record of 5-2, one save on the year, a 2.13 ERA, making his 9th start of the season, appearing in his 10th game. Has thrown 59 innings of work, giving up 16 runs, 14 earned on 48 hits, 6 walks, and 41 strikeouts this season. The lineup he'll face looks like this. The Grizzlies will lead off with their left fielder, Cody Livesey. Batting second at second base, Seth Heck. Hitting third and playing at first base, Craig Massoni. Batting fourth in center field, Brandon Thomas. Batting fifth and behind the plate, Tyler Toole. Batting sixth and playing in right field, Blake Brown. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, Ben Waldrop. Hitting eighth and playing at third base, John Bunselmeyer. And batting ninth and playing at shortstop, Logan Davis. On the mound for the Gateway Grizzlies will be Vince Molesky. We're just about ready for the first pitch here in Game 1 of this 3-game series. Game 1 of this doubleheader this evening between the Wild Things and the Grizzlies. Cody Livesey making his way to the plate, and Livesey enters this one hitting .298, no home runs, and 11 RBIs. Game number 39 on the season for your Washington Wild Things under sunny skies here at Consol Energy Park. And Trevor Foss on the mound. Foss looks into Kyle Pollock, has his sign, and here's the first pitch. And this one's on the outside corner for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. First pitch thrown at 6:07 p.m. Eastern Time. And the temperature outside right now, 75 degrees. First pitch time and temperature brought to you by State Line Grocery and Hotspot. Livesey takes the next pitch and lines it in the left field for a base hit. So the Gateway Grizzlies get the leadoff man on to start this top of the first against Trevor Foss. And for Foss, last time out, an unusual start. It ended a string of 5 straight complete games for Trevor Foss, as he only went 5 innings of work against the Traverse City Beach Bums. He gave up 4 runs, 3 earned on 7 hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts in the no decision. His team would come back and pick him up. Stepping in is Seth Heck. Heck enters .256, a homer, and 14 RBIs. Foss set, checks Livesey. Here's the pitch. And that one's on the inside corner for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. Foss getting ahead of the first 2 batters here. That's something we didn't see him do in his last time out against Traverse City, so a good sign at least early on. Foss set, throw over to first, and Cody Livesey gets back in there. Livesey on the year, 7 stolen bases in 37 games played for these Gateway Grizzlies. No balls and a strike. Trevor Foss set. Has his sign, checks Livesey the pitch. And that one's in the dirt. Count goes even to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count. Trevor Foss, the ace of this Wild Things staff, has 5 complete games this season, a record of 5-2, currently tied for the Frontier League lead in wins. Foss has his sign, checks first, and the 1-1. And this one grounded to short. Austin Wobrock to Haar for 1 onto Uxa, and it's in time for the double play. 6-4-3. And that leadoff man is eliminated, and now there are 2 outs here in the top of the first, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Craig Massoni. Massoni enters this one, .297, 6 home runs, and 20 RBIs. Top of the first, 2 outs here in Game 1 of this doubleheader between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Currently no scores. Foss gets the big double play after allowing that leadoff hit, and now he comes with a clean slate and 2 outs. Foss has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Massoni takes this one in the dirt for a ball, 1 ball and no strikes, as that curveball bounced up to the plate by Trevor Foss. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the 1-0. And this ball swung on and missed, so the count goes even to 1 ball and 1 strike. And that's one thing you see when Foss is on the mound. He does get a lot of swings and misses. Gets guys to chase out of the zone as he can use his fastball effectively and then mix in the off-speed pitches when needed. Here's the 1-1. And Massoni takes this one for a strike as well. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Trevor Foss. 2 outs here under sunny skies over Consol Energy Park. Foss looking in, has his sign, and the 1-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. Foss strikes him out, and that will end the inning. No runs on one hit, no errors, and nobody left. And after a half inning of play, the score, your Great Way Grizzlies nothing, your Washington Wild Things coming to bat. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network. It's time to start thinking about the 2016 MSA Sports Kennywood All-Star preseason football team. Make sure that your team's most outstanding players from last season are part of this year's ballot. Nominate them. All players who were active on the WPIAL District 7 and District 8 team rosters during the 2015-2016 seasons are eligible. In addition to nominating members of the offensive and defensive teams, we are also requesting nominations for our second annual Perseverance and Courage Award. For more information, visit www.msasports.net. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the first in the score. The Gateway Grizzlies nothing, your Washington Wild Things coming to bat. The Grizzlies align like this defensively in the outfield left to right. It's Livesey, Thomas, and Brown. Left side of the infield held down by Bunselmeyer and Davis. Right side by Heck and Masoni. And it'll be Tyler Toole behind the plate catching tonight's starter, Vince Molesky. Molesky enters this one with a record of 2-2, a .288 ERA, making his 8th start of the season, appearing in his 8th game. Has thrown 43 2/3 innings of work, giving up 17 runs, 14 earned, on 43 hits, 7 walks, and 46 strikeouts. The lineup he'll face for your Washington Wild Things looks like this. They'll lead off with center fielder Jamal Austin. Batting second and third base, Ricky Rodriguez. Hitting third at second, Brian Haar. Batting fourth out in right field, Dave Popkins. Hitting fifth and playing left field, Nick Ferdinand. Batting sixth, designated hitter Jimmy Yezzo. Batting seventh at first base, Logan Uxa. Batting eighth behind the plate, Kyle Pollock. And batting ninth and playing at shortstop, Austin Wobrock. On the mound for your Wild Things, as you saw, is Trevor Foss. Jamal Austin making his way to the plate, so we are ready for baseball here in the bottom of the first. Game one of a doubleheader between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Austin enters this one hitting .246 with no home runs and 6 RBIs. Wild Things in their white home jerseys with the white pants, and the Gateway Grizzlies in their gray road jerseys with their gray road pants. Wild Things enter this one third place in the Frontier League East Division standings, jumping over Schaumburg after Schaumburg took the loss last night. The Vince Molesky looking in, has his sign. Here's the first pitch. And Jamal Austin takes this one high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Umpires for tonight's game, behind home plate, Robert Howard. And on the bases is Mike Martin. 1-0 the count here on Jamal Austin. No score, bottom of the first, just underway, the 1-0. And that one's outside as well for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes. Jamal Austin sat the last couple of days out for your Washington Wild Things as he was dealing with a leg injury as he left the Thursday night game against Traverse City. Here's the 2-0 from Molesky. And Austin takes this one for a strike, 2 balls and 1 strike. And one thing we've seen from Austin this year is he's very selective, especially in his first at-bat. He makes that opposing pitcher work a lot, makes him throw a lot of pitches to begin the game. Molesky said, here's the 2-1. And Austin takes this one outside as well, so the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. 3-1, nobody out here in the bottom of the first. Game one of this doubleheader between your Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Molesky has his sign. Here's the 3-1. And Austin pops this one up. Foul territory off to the right, giving chase his Toole, but he'll run out of room as this one bounces in the stands. And the count goes full to Jamal Austin. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ricky Rodriguez, the on-deck hitter for your Washington Wild Things. And for Jamal Austin, as we said, returning to action, he's missed the last 3 games. He sat out the Schaumburg series, and then the Wild Things had Monday and Tuesday off, gave him time to recover, and he feels good enough to be back in there today. Molesky looking in, has his sign. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss by Jamal Austin. He strikes out, and that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the first. Well, Austin, a good battle there to start the game. Got the count full to 3-1, then fouled a pitch off and struck out on the full count pitch. That'll bring up the third baseman, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez currently hitting .286 with 4 home runs and 13 RBIs on the season. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Wild Things losing 2 out of 3 last time out against Schaumburg. Molesky's pitch, and Rodriguez pops this one up into the seats. Count goes to no balls and a strike. Last time the Wild Things saw these Gateway Grizzlies was the first series of the year as they played a 3-game series in Gateway. The Wild Things would take 2 out of 3 from the Grizzlies in that one. Molesky steps off now, wants to go through his signs again as Ricky Rodriguez will dig back in there. Molesky has his sign now. He said, here's the 0-1. And Rodriguez, a tapper right in front of the plate. Molesky has it himself, throw on to first, and that's in time for out number 2. 1-3 on the putout, and there's now 2 away here in the bottom of the first, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Brian Haar. Haar on the year hitting .237, 9 home runs, and 27 RBIs. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first, and no score between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Tyler Toole had to just go over to the Gateway dugout. He had to get a new glove, so his glove fell apart, so he goes to get a new one, has one he likes, and we're ready to resume. As Brian Haar making his way to the plate, leads the team in home runs and RBIs with 9 and 27. Molesky looks in, has his sign, here's the pitch. And Haar takes the first pitch on the outside corner for a strike, no balls and 1 strike. Haar's average been steadily climbing over the last couple weeks, was hitting in the 100s, now up to .237. Here's the 0-1 from Molesky. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on the second baseman for the Washington Wild Things. Game 1 of a 6-game homestand here at Consol Energy Park. Molesky said, here's the 1-1. And Haar fouls this one off back behind the seats, and the count goes to 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wild Things 3 against the Gateway Grizzlies, including 2 today and then 1 tomorrow night. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday facing off against the Florence Freedom. The first time the Wild Things have seen the Florence Freedom this year. Molesky set, here's the 1-2. And Haar, a chopper to the left side, handled by Bunselmeyer. He'll get it, throw on to first, and it's in time for out number 3. 1-2-3 go your Wild Things here in the first, and after 1 inning of play, the score, your Washington Wild Things nothing, and the Gateway Grizzlies nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School, lead don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the second, and the score, your Washington Wild Things nothing, and the Gateway Grizzlies nothing. In the first for the Gateway Grizzlies, Cody Livesey started things off with a single, then Seth Heck would hit into a 6-4-3 double play, and Craig Masoni would strike out to end the first inning. Due up here in the second, Brandon Thomas, Tyler Toole, and Blake Brown, 4, 5, and 6, facing off against Trevor Foss. Hey fans, you know you can receive $100 when you open a new checking account with Clearview Federal Credit Union. Visit them at clearviewfcu.org today for more details. Trevor Foss giving up that lead-off single, but after that got the big 6-4-3 double play and would strike out Craig Masoni to end the inning. As we were saying, uncharacteristic last time out for him, only went 5 innings. It stopped a string of 5 straight complete games for Trevor Foss, in which he went 4-1 during that streak. He's currently tied for the Frontier League lead in wins with 5 and has currently the 3rd lowest ERA in the Frontier League with a 2.14 ERA. Stepping in to lead off the second, Brandon Thomas. Thomas enters this one hitting .285 with 6 home runs and 19 RBIs. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss by Thomas to start the at-bat, and the count goes to 0-1. Foss, a guy who likes to work the corners. We've seen it today so far. And when he gets into a 2-strike count, likes to try to get the opposing batter to chase. Foss said, here's the 0-1. And this one fouled away back into the seats. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. And when Foss works ahead of a batter, he is pretty much lethal, as he can get you with the curveball. He also has a very nice slider, or he can blow the fastball by you. He said, here's the 0-2 pitch. And that one's outside. Couldn't get Brandon Thomas to chase, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2, nobody out here in the top of the second. Game 1 of a doubleheader, so only playing 7 today. Foss set, here's the 1-2. And this one's also fouled away back to the screen. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Trevor Foss likes to pound the strike zone, leads this team in strikeouts, however, with 41 strikeouts in 59 innings worked. He says he's not trying to strike anybody out, just happens to try and pitch to contact and gets swings and misses. The 1-2 tapped right out in front of the mound, actually hits home plate, so that'll be a foul ball, and the count will remain 1 ball, 2 strikes. Trevor Foss trying to scramble over to that ball and make it look like it was fair, but his acting job does him no good as the count remains 1-2. Brandon Thomas out there in center field has 6 home runs for this team, tied for third in the home run category. Tied for third as Tyler Toole and Craig Masoni, or Blake Brown, sit ahead of him. Foss has his sign. Here's the 1-2. And a swing and a miss of the ball in the dirt. And it's handled by Pollock, so that's a strikeout. Second strikeout of the day for Trevor Foss. And there's one away here in the top of the second. That brings up the catcher, Tyler Toole. Toole hitting .346, 7 home runs, and 22 RBIs on the season behind the plate for the Gateway Grizzlies, the main catcher, as he leads this team in average with that .346. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Toole, fly ball down the left field line, hooking towards the party pavilion. It'll go out of play. Count goes to no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the catcher for Gateway. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And this ball hit the center field. Jamal Austin a couple steps to his right, and he'll make the catch. That's out number 2. Quickly 2 away here in the top of inning number 2, and that'll bring up the right fielder, Blake Brown. Brown enters this one hitting .234 with 8 home runs and 28 RBIs. 2 outs here in the top of the second as Foss has retired the first 2 men he's faced, and there's no score between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Brown stepping in leads the team in home runs with 8 and RBIs with 28. Foss has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Brown takes low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 the count. Trevor Foss dropping the curveball in there to start the at-bat against Blake Brown. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the 1-0. And this one hit the left center field. Jamal Austin going over. He dives! And he made the catch! What a catch by Jamal Austin! And that will end the inning emphatically. 1, 2, 3 go the Gateway Grizzlies, and after 1.5 the score. Your Washington Wild Things nothing, Gateway Grizzlies nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get to sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the second. And the score, Washington Wild Things nothing, Gateway Grizzlies nothing. Last inning, the Wild Things would go 1, 2, 3 as Jamal Austin struck out to start things. Then Ricky Rodriguez would ground out, and Brian Haar would ground out to end that first inning. Due up here in the second for the Wild Things, Dave Popkins, Nick Ferdinand, and Jimmy Yezzo, 4, 5, and 6. Facing Vince Molesky. Molesky retiring the Wild Things 1, 2, 3 in that first inning. Jamal Austin, a very long at-bat against Vince Molesky as he struck out after a full count. Then Ricky Rodriguez, a 2-pitch ground out, and Brian Haar, a 3-pitch ground out. So the Wild Things will look to get going offensively here in the second. Hey fans, every Thursday night game during the 2016 season is Thirsty Thursday at Consol Energy Park, and it's all being brought to you by Frankie I's Bar and Grill, located by the Meadows Casino on Route 19. Join them to enjoy food and drink specials after the game, and don't forget Thursday's feature is Buck Beverages, both beer and soda, for just $1. Next Thirsty Thursday game tomorrow night, 7:05 here at Consol Energy Park, as Dave Popkins steps in to lead off the bottom of the second. Popkins hitting .287, 4 home runs, and 15 RBIs. Molesky's first pitch grounded towards the second baseman. Seth Heck has it, throwing to first, and it's in time for out number 1. 1 pitch, 1 away here in the bottom of the second. And that'll bring up the left fielder, Nick Ferdinand. Ferdinand comes into this one hitting .289 with 1 home run and 11 RBIs. Currently leads the Wild Things team in batting average with that .289 average. 1 out here in the bottom of the second. No score between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies here in game number 39 of the season against Gateway. Molesky set. Here's the pitch. And Ferdinand takes it high for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 the count on the left fielder for the Wild Things. Nick Ferdinand, 11 RBIs in his first, as this next pitch is outside for a ball. Count goes to 2-0. But as I was saying, 11 RBIs in the first 13 games for Nick Ferdinand. So it's really been a run producer since being signed earlier this season by the Wild Things. Molesky set the 2-0. And a swing and a miss by Ferdinand. The count goes to 2 balls and one strike. A very big hack there by Nick Ferdinand. Hit his first Washington Wild Things home run of the season. A 3-run shot in Game 1 against Schaumburg on the road trip. Molesky has his sign. Here's the 2-1. And Ferdinand takes this one in the outside corner. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 here on Nick Ferdinand. 1 out, bottom of the second. Game 1 of a doubleheader. Molesky has his sign. Here's the 2-2. And Ferdinand hits this one towards left center field. Livesey and Thomas going over. Thomas calls him off and makes the catch. And that is out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for the Wild Things here in the second. And that'll bring up the designated hitter, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo on the year, currently hitting .214, 5 home runs, and 20 RBIs, including the big 2-run shot that gave your Wild Things a 5-2 lead in the top of the 11th inning in Game 3 against the Schaumburg Boomers. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Game 1 of a doubleheader between your Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Jimmy Yezzo at the plate, still looking for the first Wild Things hit. Molesky set. Here's the pitch. And Yezzo takes this one on the outside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. A battle of 2 very good pitchers here between Trevor Foss and Vince Molesky. Molesky has his sign. Here's the 0-1. A swing and a foul ball by Yezzo. Hits off the knee pad of Tyler Toole. And the count goes to 0-2. Tyler Toole trying to walk it out as Robert Howard will give him some time. As he walks out, throws the ball to Molesky and walks back behind home plate. Tyler Toole looks to be okay, so we are going to continue here in the bottom of the second with 2 outs and an 0-2 count on Jimmy Yezzo. Vince Molesky looking in. Shakes off the first couple signs. Now has one he wants. He's set. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And Yezzo, a grounder towards the right side and foul. Mike Marshall coaching over there at first base. Tried to make a play on it, but rolls to the Wild Things bullpen, and the count will remain 0-2. Hitting coach Mike Marshall coaching over at first base, and manager Greg Langben has the third base coach duties. Molesky set the 0-2, and this one grounded towards short. Picked up there by Davis, throw on to first, and it's in time for out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Wild Things again here in the second, and after 2 innings of play, the score, your Washington Wild Things nothing, and the Gateway Grizzlies nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of inning number 3, and the score, your Washington Wild Things nothing, and the Gateway Grizzlies nothing. Only 1 hit on the day for the Gateway Grizzlies, as opposed to none for your Washington Wild Things. Last inning, Brandon Thomas started things off with a strikeout, then Tyler Toole flew out to center, and Blake Brown was robbed of a base hit on a diving catch by Jamal Austin in center field. Laid out, made the catch a couple of inches above the grass in left center field. It was a very nice running diving catch to end the inning. Due up here in the third for the Gateway Grizzlies, Ben Waldrop, John Bunselmeyer, and Logan Davis, 7, 8, and 9 facing off against Trevor Foss as Ben Waldrop makes his way to the plate. Waldrop on the season hitting .198 with 2 home runs and 13 RBIs here in the top of the third with no score between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Trevor Foss here for his 3rd inning of work. Remember, only playing 7-inning games tonight as it's a doubleheader. Game 1 now, Game 2 approximately a half hour after the conclusion of this one. Waldrop takes the first pitch and fouls it off towards the Wild Things dugout. Count goes to no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Waldrop. Foss has faced the minimum through the first 2 innings, giving up that 1 hit. Cody Livesey singled to lead off the game, but then he got a double play to get out of that. Here's the 0-1, and a swing and a miss, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Got Waldrop to dip out of the zone for that pitch. 0-2 the count. Nobody out here in the top of the third. Trevor Foss and Vince Molesky both pitching very well through the first 2 innings of this game. Foss has his sign. Here's the 0-2. And Waldrop reaches out, and it'll be picked up by Ricky Rodriguez. Throw on to first, and it's in time for out number 1. Wild Things in sort of a shift. Rodriguez playing that normal shortstop position, and he gets the ball and fires on to first, as Austin Wobrock was on the other side of second base, and Brian Harr was out in right field. The infield will go to normal defensive alignment, and that'll bring up John Bunselmeyer. Bunselmeyer on the season hitting .321 with 1 home run and 2 RBIs out of the third base position tonight. Foss has his sign. He said, here's the pitch. And Bunselmeyer takes the first pitch on the outside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. Bunselmeyer, one of the Gateway Grizzlies who was not on the roster to begin the season when the Wild Things saw them. Here's Foss's 0-1. This one's grounded to short. Austin Wobrock picks it. Throw across to first, and that's in time for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down here to start the third, and that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, shortstop Logan Davis. Davis has an average of .280, 1 home run, and 14 RBIs. 2 outs here in the top of the third, game 1 of this doubleheader, and there's no score between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. As we said, a pretty decent crowd here at Consol Energy Park, about halfway full on this Wednesday night. Foss has his sign. Here's the pitch, and that one's low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 the count on Logan Davis, the shortstop. That .198 average, he's looking to try to pick that up offensively. Here's the 1-0. Davis pops this one off to the left in foul territory. Rodriguez giving chase, and he'll run out of room as that falls into the lawn area on the left side. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count, and tonight's Trevor Foss is the Foss we're more used to. In Wednesday night's game against Traverse City last week, he was out in front, or was behind a lot of batters, gave up a lot of hits, and gave up 4 runs in 5 innings of work. Tonight, much better. Here's the 1-1. Davis bunting, pulls back and takes the ball. Count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. The first batter that Trevor Foss has been behind all night. He's been working ahead of most everybody else. Foss has his sign. Here's the 2-1. And this ball popped up to the left side in foul territory. Rodriguez giving chase again, over again by that lawn area. And once again, the ball will sneak into that lawn area away from Rodriguez. Count goes even to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2, 2 men out. And Trevor Foss's first time working with catcher Kyle Pollock, as in his last couple starts, he's worked with Alex McKeon. Actually, he did work with Pollock 1 time, worked with Pollock on opening day, as Pollock caught the opening day game, then went to the disabled list. Foss set, here's the 2-2. And this ball lined into right field. Dave Popkins doesn't even have to move, and he'll make the catch. That is out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Grizzlies here in inning number 3. And after 2.5, the score. Your Washington Wild Things nothing, Gateway Grizzlies nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network. Come out to Consol Energy Park throughout the entire 2016 season to support Andrew Heck, Jamal Austin, Dave Popkins, and the rest of your 2016 Washington Wild Things. The 6-game homestand continues this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, July 1st through the 3rd, when the Wild Things play a 3-game series with the Florence Freedom. It all starts on July 1st, a 7:05 first pitch for Game 1 of the series, and a fantastic fireworks display following the game. So watch a good game and stick around for some fireworks afterwards. Then the series continues Saturday at 7:05 when the first 1,000 fans get a pair of sunglasses presented by Mylan. The series will conclude Sunday, July 3rd at 5:05 p.m. when it's a Kids Sunday. All kids get to run the bases after the game. Come out to Consol Energy Park all season. For tickets, go to www.washingtonwildthings.com or call the box office at 866-456-WILD. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the third, and the score, your Washington Wild Things nothing, and the Gateway Grizzlies nothing. Vince Molesky on the mound for his third inning of work has not allowed a hit yet in this game as he's retired the Wild Things 6 up, 6 down. Last inning, Dave Popkins would ground out, Nick Ferdinand would fly out, and Jimmy Yezzo would ground out to end the second inning. Due up here in the third, Logan Uxa, Kyle Pollock, and Austin Wolbrock, 7, 8, and 9, looking to get on the scoreboard for your Washington Wild Things. Logan Uxa makes his way to the plate. Uxa 234, 1 home run, and 3 RBIs. Was 2 for 4 in that 11-inning contest on Sunday with a walk. Molesky set. Here's the pitch. And Uxa takes the first pitch low for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. We've seen Uxa's walk numbers go up, as in that 3-game series against Traverse City, he walked 5 times in those 3 games, and he has 10 walks on the season. Next pitch taken on the outside corner for a strike. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Uxa in at first base today. Jimmy Yezzo, the designated hitter. They swapped positions from Sunday's game. Here's the 1-1, and Uxa takes this one in the dirt. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. On Sunday, it was Jimmy Yezzo over at first base and Logan Uxa in the DH spot. 2 balls, 1 strike, nobody out here in the bottom of the third. Molesky has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Uxa, base hit into right field. The first hit for your Washington Wild Things. A sharp ground ball finds the hole between first and second, and that'll give the Wild Things their first base run of the day. And we'll bring up the catcher, Kyle Pollock. Pollock on the season hitting .200 with no home runs and 2 RBIs, playing in his 6th game of the season, his 5th game off of the disabled list for the Wild Things. Runner at first, nobody out here to start the bottom of the third. No score between your Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Molesky has his sign, the pitch, and that one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 the count on Kyle Pollock. The Wild Things get their first base hit in the single by Logan Uxa. Molesky has his sign, checks Uxa. Here's the 1-0. And Pollock takes this one for a strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. First pitch from Molesky, a little bit outside, finds the corner on that last pitch. So working the outside part of the plate here against Pollock. Molesky has his sign, checks first, and the 1-1. And Pollock, a fly ball to right field. Brown giving chase, but he'll watch this one go behind the Wild Things bullpen, and the count will go to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Kyle Pollock. Logan Uxa stands at first base after singling to lead off the inning. 1 hit for each of these teams, as Trevor Foss just allowed the leadoff single to Cody Livesey, and Molesky allowing that hit to Logan Uxa. Molesky has his sign. He's set. Here's the 1-2. And a swing and a miss by Kyle Pollock. He strikes out, and that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the third. The second strikeout victim for Vince Molesky today. That'll bring the shortstop Austin Wolbrock to the plate. Wolbrock hitting .206 with 1 home run and 7 RBIs. Runner at first, 1 out for your Washington Wild Things here in the bottom of the third. Game 1 of a doubleheader between your Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Molesky has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Wolbrock lines this one into left field, and that'll fall in pair territory. Uxa around first, heading to second. He will be held at third by Greg Langben, and Austin Wolbrock into second with a double. Runners are at second and third now for your Wild Things with just 1 away. That ball very softly hit by Austin Wolbrock, just falling fair in left field. And great hustle out of the box gets Wolbrock all the way to second with 1 man out and sets the Wild Things in good position to take the lead here in the bottom of the third. Runners at second and third and 1 out. And Jamal Austin coming to the plate. Austin today 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Has missed the last 3 games for the Washington Wild Things, but Andrew Heck played in center field on Sunday and ended up going 1 for 4 with a double and a walk. Molesky setting the pitch, and Austin into left field. That'll fall, a base hit. Uxa will score. Wolbrock coming to the plate. Here's the throw. It's not in time. They have Jamal Austin hung up between first and second. Austin will be thrown out for the second out of the inning, but it's a 2 RBI single as both Uxa and Wolbrock score, and your Wild Things take a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of inning number 3. Jamal Austin lacing the first pitch he sees in the left field. Gets the fall in, tried to get to second as the throw looked like it was coming home from left fielder Cody Livesey, but very wisely cut off by third baseman John Bunselmeyer, and they threw Austin out at second base, but your Wild Things now lead this one 2-0, and that'll bring up the third baseman Ricky Rodriguez with 2 away and nobody on. Molesky has his sign, here's the pitch. Rodriguez takes it in there for a strike, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Ricky Rodriguez. 2 runs in on the RBI single by Jamal Austin. Molesky looking in, has his sign. Here's the 0-1. Rodriguez fouls this one off to the seats on the right side, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. For Austin, RBIs number 7 and 8 on the season, as your Wild Things take the lead here in the bottom of the third of a 7-inning game. Molesky looking in, has his sign. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And Rodriguez takes a called strike 3 on the inside corner, and the inning is over. But the Wild Things get 2 runs in the inning on 3 hits, no errors, and nobody left. And after 3 innings of play, the score, your Washington Wild Things 2 and the Gateway Grizzlies nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here in the top of inning number 4, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 2 and the Gateway Grizzlies nothing. Wild Things get on the board in the bottom of inning number 3 with a 2 RBI single by Jamal Austin that gave the Wild Things this 2-0 lead. Trevor Foss back out there for the 4th inning. Has just allowed the 1 hit today, a lean-off single to Cody Livesey to start the first. Other than that, he has retired the last 8 Gateway Grizzlies that he has faced and will look to continue that success here in inning number 4. Due up for the Grizzlies will be 1-2-3, Cody Livesey, Seth Heck, and Craig Masoni facing off against Trevor Foss. Livesey making his way to the plate. Livesey on the day is 1 for 1, has the only hit against Trevor Foss as he was able to single to lead off the game. So Livesey stepping in here. The only base runner for Gateway to this point. The Sunday game for Gateway against the River City Rascals was postponed, so the last time they played was Saturday night, as this pitch is taken low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes here to Cody Livesey. And in that Saturday night game against the River City Rascals, as the next pitch is grounded to third, Ricky Rodriguez bobbles it, picks it up, and his throw to first will be in time for out number 1. Cody Livesey retired. That ball hit very softly over to third base. Rodriguez tried to make the catch out of the air, but he was unable to, so he bobbled the ball, got to it in time, and made a snap throw to first to get Livesey for out number 1. That'll bring up the second baseman, Seth Heck. Heck 0 for 1. And in that Saturday game was 3 for 5, drove in 2 RBIs against the River City Rascals. A shortened 2-game series against those Rascals. Foss has his sign. Here's the pitch. Heck bunting, and he'll take a strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. 1 out here on the top of the 4th. Wild Things lead 2-0 over the Gateway Grizzlies. Foss has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And that one's low and outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Seth Heck. Game 1 of a doubleheader between your Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Foss has his sign, the 1-1. Heck grounds this one foul. Past the third base coach and manager, Phil Warren, for these River City Rascals. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2, 1 man away here in the top of the 4th. Wild Things 2 runs on 3 hits. Grizzlies no runs, just 1 hit. The 1-2, and that one's in the dirt. Can't get Heck to chase, and the count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count on the second baseman for the Gateway Grizzlies. No relation to Andrew Heck of the Washington Wild Things. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the 2-2. And this ball grounded towards third, but that will go foul as well, and the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Seth Heck making Trevor Foss work here a little bit. Heck standing in at 5'11", 175 from Edmonds, Washington. A returner to these Gateway Grizzlies. Foss set, here's the 2-2. And Heck lines this one down the right field line. It's hooking and will fall behind the Wild Things bullpen foul. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. 3 straight foul balls here by Seth Heck, as he's making Trevor Foss work with 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the 2-2. And that one's just inside for a ball. Count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Trevor Foss actually started making his walk around the mound, but will backpedal back and do it again. Foss has his sign. Here's the 3-2. And this ball grounded to the left side so softly. Rodriguez fields it. Throw on to first, and Uxa picks it way in time to get out number 1. Seth Heck thought that ball was going to roll foul, so actually didn't even get out of the Gateway Grizzlies batter box until Rodriguez already had the ball, so it was an easy throw out for Rodriguez. 2 away here in the top of the 4th, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Craig Masoni. Masoni 0 for 1 with a strikeout thus far, and in that Saturday game was 1 for 5 with an RBI against River City. 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Wild Things lead 2-0 over the Gateway Grizzlies. Trevor Foss making his 9th start of the season. Foss has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike at the knees. No balls and 1 strike. 0-1 the count here on Craig Masoni, the number 3 hitter in this Grizzlies order. Foss set in the 0-1. Masoni lined in the left center field, and that'll get down for a base hit. Masoni around first, heading to second as Jamal Austin will get it at the wall. His throwback in will hold Masoni at second with a 2-out double, and it's the first time the Grizzlies have had a runner in scoring position today with 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Masoni hit that ball very hard in the gap between Jamal Austin and Nick Ferdinand. Neither of them got to it until it got to the wall, and Masoni had to be held at second. As a good throw by Jamal Austin from left center field kept him right at second base. That'll bring up the center fielder, Brandon Thomas. Thomas 0 for 1 with a strikeout, and in that Saturday game was 1 for 5 with a run scored. He also struck out in that game. Foss looking in, has his sign, checks Masoni at second, and here's the pitch. And that one's on the outside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 2 outs here at the top of the 4th. Your Wild Things lead the Gateway Grizzlies 2-0 here in game 1 of a doubleheader. Foss looking in, has his sign, checks Masoni, and the 0-1 on the way. After another check, Foss kicks and deals. And this one swung on and fouled off back behind the plate, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. In the Frontier League East standings, the Joliet Slammers have jumped the Windy City Thunderbolts. They're in Joliet now in first place in the Frontier League East. Your Wild Things sit in third, 2 games back of the Slammers. The Wild Things will actually see the Joliet Slammers next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in Joliet, a 3-game road trip for your Washington Wild Things. Right before the All-Star break, Foss has his sign. He's set, checks second, and the 0-2. Swing and a fly ball to shallow right, and this will fall in over Brian Haar. Masoni around third, he will score, and the Gateway Grizzlies get on the board. It's now 2-1 on an RBI single by Brandon Thomas. As Craig Masoni scores for Brandon Thomas, that is RBI number 20 on the year, and that'll bring up the catcher, Tyler Toole. So now 2-1 between your Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies here in game 1 of this doubleheader, and Toole stepping in. 2 outs, top of the 4th, 2-1 the score. Foss has his sign, checks first in the pitch, and Toole takes way inside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and no strikes. Tyler Toole in that game on Saturday was 2 for 3, drove in a run, and also scored twice. Foss has his sign, checks first, here's the 1-0. And this ball lined foul back into the seats, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Trevor Foss trying to calm down and get through this 4th inning with his club still having the lead. 1 run in for the Gateway Grizzlies on the RBI single by Brandon Thomas. Trevor Foss looking in. Foss has the sign he wants. He's set. Checks first, and the 1-1. And that one swung on and fouled away. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2, 2 men out, top of the fourth, game 1 of a doubleheader. So we're only playing 7 innings tonight. Foss looking in to catcher Kyle Pollock. Foss has the sign he wants. He's set. Checks first. And the 1-2 pitch. And that one's in the dirt. Nice block by Kyle Pollock, and the count stays even at 2-2. Foss not able to get the chase on the breaking ball as it falls out of the zone and into the dirt. As Toole staying in there and staying patient. Leads the team in batting average coming into today with 346. Foss looking in. Has his sign. He's set. Checks first. And the 2-2 offering. Taking off for second is Thomas. This one grounded softly to the left side of the mound. By the time Rodriguez gets it, he's not going to have a play. So it's an infield single for Tyler Toole. Brandon Thomas moves up to second, and there's now runners at first and second with 2 men out. 3 straight hits off of Trevor Foss. That one, just a bit of luck for Tyler Toole as Foss tried to get off the mound, and he fell trying to get to that ball. It's the second time we've seen him slip trying to move that way. The first was on a foul ball, and this one results in an infield single. That'll bring up the right fielder, Blake Brown. Brown 0 for 1 was robbed of a hit on a diving catch by Jamal Austin. And in that Saturday game, Brown was 3 for 4 with an RBI. Foss has his sign. He's set. Checks second, and the pitch. And this one's in the dirt, blocked by Kyle Pollock, and the count goes to 1 ball, no strikes. First jam that Trevor Foss has been in all day is it just allowed the 1 hit in the first inning prior to this 4th inning. Now he's allowed 3 in the inning. Foss looking in, has his sign, checks second. He's set, and the 1-0. And this one chopped right in front of the mound. Trevor Foss will have it, flip on to first, and it's in time for out number 3. But the Gateway Grizzlies get on the board here in the 4th. They score 1 run on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. After 3.5, the score. Your Washington Wild Things 2, Gateway Grizzlies 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute? That keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 4th, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 2 and the Gateway Grizzlies 1. Last inning, the Wild Things would get on the board to start things off as Logan Uxa would single, then Kyle Pollock would strike out before Austin Wobrock doubled. So there was runners at second and third with 1 away before Jamal Austin came in and laced an RBI single into left field, scoring both Logan Uxa and Austin Wobrock to give your Wild Things a 2-0 lead. Jamal Austin would be thrown out as he was caught in a rundown between first and second base, and then Ricky Rodriguez would strike out to end the 3rd. Due up here in the 4th for the Wild Things, Brian Harr, Dave Popkins, and Nick Ferdinand, 3, 4, and 5, facing off against Vince Molesky. Molesky out there for his 4th inning of work against your Washington Wild Things. It allowed 2 runs on 3 hits on the night. Brian Harr making his way to the plate. And Harr so far tonight 0 for 1, grounding out to third his first time. In that 11-inning game against Schaumburg on Sunday, Brian Harr would end up going 2 for 5 in the game with a double, a single, 2 strikeouts, and he would also ground out. He's in to lead off the bottom of the 4th for your Wild Things as they look to add on. Molesky has his sign. Here's the pitch. And a swing and a foul ball by Harr. Count goes to no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Both Vince Molesky and Trevor Foss pitching very well. Foss getting in a jam in the top of the 4th inning, allowing a run to come in, but able to limit the damage to just that 1 run, and your Wild Things still hold the 2-1 lead. Molesky's 0-1, and that one swung on a miss. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Brian Harr. 9 home runs, 27 RBIs on the season. Leads the Wild Things in both categories. Molesky has his sign. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And Harr takes high. Count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Molesky can't get the chase from Brian Harr up in the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th with your Wild Things leading. Molesky has his sign, the 1-2. Hart takes it high again. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 here on Brian Hart, playing second base tonight. He's also been seen at third and short this season, mainly the second baseman, after John Zizniewski being cut. Molesky has his sign, the 2-2. And a swing and a miss by Brian Hart. He strikes out, and that is the first out here in the 4th. The 4th strikeout victim today for Vince Molesky, and that'll bring up the right fielder, Dave Popkins. Popkins 0 for 1 so far in this one. In that 11-inning game on Sunday, Popkins would end up going 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. He singled, sac fly, 2 strikeouts, and also a ground out in that game on Sunday. Molesky looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Popkins fouls this first pitch off into the stands on the first base side. And it'll go foul. Count goes to 0-1 on Dave Popkins. As that ball ricocheted off a seat, Mike Marshall had to rebound it and throw it back into the seating area. Molesky looking in, has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And Popkins, a ground ball back to the right side, and Mike Marshall will be called upon again to field a ground ball as it goes foul, and the count goes to 0-2. Marshall getting a workout over there in the first base coaching box. The hitting coach for the Washington Wild Things. Vince Molesky looks in, has his sign. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And that one's outside. Dave Popkins wisely lays off, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 on the right fielder for the Wild Things. Currently sits in, in second place on the team in average with 287 as he lays off that one low and outside for a ball. Count goes even at 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wild Things making a roster move over the 2 off days as Brandon Hinkle was cut from the team. Molesky setting the 2-2, and Popkins hits this one to right field and deep. Blake Brown going back, and this ball's off the wall. Popkins around first, and he will be in there at second with a 1-out double. That ball nearly at home run distance. Hits just under the yellow line in right center field, and Dave Popkins in scoring position with 1 out for your Wild Things. And that'll bring up the left fielder, Nick Ferdinand. Ferdinand 0 for 1, and in that game on Sunday, ended up going 1 for 4 with a single, a walk, a run scored, 2 strikeouts, and a line out. Runner at second, 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Wild Things lead 2-1 over the Gateway Grizzlies. Vince Molesky has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Ferdinand grounded to third. A diving try by Bunselmeyer, but it'll get by him into left field. Langban holds Popkins at third, so it'll be runners at first and third with 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th after the single by Nick Ferdinand. And that'll bring up the designated hitter, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo 0 for 1 so far. Grounded out his last time was in Sunday's game. He hit the big 2-run homer that gave your Wild Things a 5-2 lead, and that was his only hit of the day. Went 1 for 5, that home run, hit into a fielder's choice, popped out, grounded out, and struck out in that 11-inning contest. Currently in the bottom of the 4th here, 2-1 the score. Dave Popkins stands at third after he doubled with 1 out, and then Nick Ferdinand at first after his single with Jimmy Yezzo coming to the plate. Yezzo's second on the team with 5 home runs. Molesky looking in. Has his sign. He's set. Checks third. Here's the pitch. And Yezzo fouls this one off back behind home plate. Hits off the sweet line. And the count goes to no balls and 1 strike. 0-1 here on Jimmy Yezzo. Pretty good crowd here for a Wednesday night doubleheader. Lots of kids in the crowd. His family spending the day here at Consol Energy Park. Molesky's 0-1. And that one's high for a ball. Count goes even at 1-1 on Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo the DH in this one. Him and Logan Aksa, the on-deck man, have been switching off between the designated hitter and the first baseman for your Wild Things. Molesky's 1-1, and that one's high. Molesky falls behind Yezzo, 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on the Wild Things DH. Men on first and third with 1 out. Yezzo's second on the team in RBIs with 20. Looking to drive some insurance runs in here for the Wild Things in the 4th. Molesky has his sign. Here's the 2-1. Yezzo, a ground ball to the right side. Handled by Masoni, and throw to second high. Popkins will score. Ferdinand gets into third, and Jimmy Yezzo reaches on the E3. They tried to get the double play. Masoni's throw to second was way too high. And the score now, your Wild Things 3 and the Gateway Grizzlies 1. Craig Masoni just lost the handle on that ball as he overthrew Logan Davis covering the second base bag. Dave Popkins scores. Nick Ferdinand gets the third, and we're in the same situation, first and third, with one man out, and that'll bring up Logan Uxa, the first baseman. Uxa singled his first time, and in that Sunday game went 2 for 4, double single walk, hit into a double play, and grounded out. First and third, one man away. Wild Things escape the double play as Craig Masoni overshoots second. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss by Uxa, and the count goes to 0-1. No balls, one strike on the Wild Things first baseman, Logan Uxa. Runners at first and third, and one out for your Washington Wild Things, up 3-1. Molesky set the 0-1. And this one taken in the dirt. Uxa lays off, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1, one man out here in the bottom of the fourth. A run in for the Wild Things on the E3. Molesky has his sign, checks Ferdinand, the 1-1. Uxa takes this one low, and the count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 on Logan Uxa. Wild Things up 3-1 here in the bottom of the fourth. Ferdinand at third after his single. Jimmy Yezzo stands at first after the E3. Molesky's pitch. And Uxa takes this one in the zone for a strike. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Logan Uxa, not on the team for the first series against Gateway, as he was signed during the 4th week of the season. Molesky has his sign, checks third, the 2-2. And Uxa pops this one up, left side in foul territory. Bunselmeyer will watch this one go into the party pavilion area. And the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes on Logan Uxa. Uxa joining us on the pregame show. Very thankful that he was able to join us for that, as he had the 2 for 4 day on Sunday and was up right after the Jimmy Yezzo 2-run bomb in the 11th inning. Molesky calls time as he has to tie his shoe on the mound. Now, Vince Molesky did not face the Wild Things in the first series this year, but he did. Last time he faced Wild Things was on August 22nd of 2015. Went 7 2/3 innings in that game. Did not give up a run on 3 hits, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts in that game for Molesky. Here's the 2-2, and it nearly hits Logan Uxa as he had to jump out of the way. The count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count on Logan Uxa. Runners at first and third, 1 out. Wild Things up 3-1. Ferdinand at third, he singled. Yezzo at first, he reached on the air. Molesky has his sign, the 3-2. Yezzo taking off for second, and it's outside, ball 4. So Logan Uxa will reach base, and the bases are full of Wild Things here with 1 out in the bottom of the fourth, and it'll bring up the catcher, Kyle Pollock. Pollock 0 for 1 with a strikeout in this one. Did catch that Sunday game, and in that Sunday game, Pollock ended up going 2 for 5 with an RBI, 2 singles, a flyout, a strikeout, and a ground out. There'll be a meeting on the mound as manager Phil Warren coming out to talk to his starting pitcher in this one. And for Phil Warren, he's in his 10th season as the manager of the Gateway Grizzlies. He's the longest tenured manager in Grizzlies history. In 2010, he passed former manager Danny Cox to become the all-time winningest manager in Grizzlies history, and his 356 wins are good for 6th in terms of Frontier history. Currently has his team at 19-20 this season. Kyle Pollock stepping in, bases full of Wild Things, 1 man out. Molesky looking in, has his sign, checks Ferdinand at third. Here's the pitch, and Pollock takes a strike at the knees, no balls and a strike. Nick Ferdinand stands over there at third. He's singled. Jimmy Yezzo at second. He reached on an error. And Logan Uxa at first after he walked. All with 1 out. Molesky has his sign. He's set. And the 0-1. Pollock, a fly ball to right field. Brown coming in. Ferdinand will tag. Brown makes the catch. Ferdinand's going to try to score. Here comes the throw to the plate. And it's not in time. Sacrifice fly for Kyle Pollock as in comes Nick Ferdinand. And the score now, your Wild Things 4 and the Gateway Grizzlies 1. The ball was cut off by the first baseman, Craig Massoni, and that might have allowed Ferdinand to come in as it was a strong throw from Blake Brown, but the cutoff throw not in time as Ferdinand slides in there, and your Wild Things now lead 4-1. That'll bring up the shortstop, Austin Wobrock, now with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th and 2 runs in. Jimmy Yezzo at second, Logan Uxa at first. Molesky looking in, has his sign, he's set, checks second base, here's the pitch. And that one grounded to second. Seth Heck handles it over there, throw on to first, and it's in time for out number 3. But the Wild Things add 2 insurance runs here in the 4th on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. After 4, your score, your Washington Wild Things 4 and the Gateway Grizzlies 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball as we go to the top of the 5th. And the score, your Washington Wild Things 4, Gateway Grizzlies 1. As Trevor Foss back out there for the 5th inning of work. Last inning, Gateway would get on the board as Cody Livesey and Seth Heck both grounded out to start the inning. Then Craig Massoni would double. Brandon Thomas would drive him in with an RBI single. Tyler Toole would single. And then Blake Brown would ground out to end that 4th inning. Due up here in the 5th, Ben Waldrop, John Bunselmeyer, and Logan Davis, 7, 8, and 9, facing off against Trevor Foss. Foss getting in that jam in the 4th inning. Other than that, so far, so good for Trevor Foss. And the last time he faced these Gateway Grizzlies was on opening day. Foss went 6 2/3 innings, gave up 1 run. It was earned on 6 hits, no walks, and 2 strikeouts for the right-hander Foss. Ben Waldrop makes his way to the plate here to lead off the top of the 5th. Waldrop 0 for 1 so far. And in that game on Saturday, Waldrop ended up going 1 for 4 against the River City Rascals. He steps in here. Wild Things leading 4-1 in the top of the 5th. Trevor Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Waldrop grounds the first pitch to second base. Brian Hard charging, bare hand, throw to first. Is in time for out number 1. Little confusion there as the Wild Things were in the shift. Austin Wobrock was on the second base side of second, and both him and Har were charging for the ball. Both stopped momentarily, and Har was able to get to the ball in time to throw Waldrop out. That'll bring up the third baseman, John Bunselmeyer. Bunselmeyer 0 for 1, and it's on Saturday, 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. And he also had a double in that game. Foss set, here's the pitch. And Bunselmeyer takes this one low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball, no strikes. 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Game 1 of the doubleheader between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Foss has his sign, the 1-0. And Bunselmeyer takes this one low as well, and the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. Foss falling behind here with 1 out to the number 8 hitter in the Gateway Grizzlies order. Only playing 7 innings today here in these doubleheader against the Grizzlies. Foss has his sign, the 2-0. And this ball hit towards center field. Jamal Austin a couple steps over, and he'll make the catch. That is out number 2. 2 away here in the 5th, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Logan Davis. Davis 0 for 1 so far. Flew out to right field his last time. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th, and the Wild Things are up 4-1. 4 runs, 5 hits for your Wild Things. 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error for the Gateway Grizzlies. Here from Consol Energy Park, you're listening to the MSA Sports Network. I'm Zach Ziegler. Trevor Foss set. Here's the pitch. And this ball grounded to first, past a diving Uxa and down in the right field corner. Davis around first, heading to second, and he will pull into second with a 2-out double as Foss gives up his second 2-out double of the day, a runner in scoring position for the Gateway Grizzlies, and that'll bring up Cody Livesey, the left fielder. Livesey so far 1 for 2, singled in the first, and grounded out in inning number 4. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Wild Things lead 4-1 over the Gateway Grizzlies. Just 1 run given up for Trevor Foss in his first 4 2/3 innings pitched. He had a string of 5 straight complete games snapped his last time out, as he only went 5 innings. Looking to get another streak started tonight. Foss looking in, has his sign, he's set. Checks second, and here's the pitch. Taking off for third is Davis. Throw down is not in time. As the field umpire Mike Martin was about to put his fist back for the out, but then saw that Rodriguez did not tag him in time, and Davis called safe. A stolen base for Logan Davis as he gets in there at third. Cody Livesey at the plate, 1-0 count on Livesey, as that first pitch was outside. For Logan Davis, that is stolen base number 11 on the season. This one grounded to second base. Har has it, throwing to first, and it's in time for out number 3. No runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and a man left on base. Since we're playing 7, we're going to take you down for the 5th inning stretch here. You're listening to Washington Wild Things Baseball on the MSA Sports Network.
It's time to start thinking about the 2016 MSA Sports Kennywood All-Star Preseason Football Team. Make sure that your team's most outstanding players from last season are part of this year's ballot. Nominate them. All players who were active on the WPIAL District 7 and District 8 team rosters during the 2015-2016 seasons are eligible. In addition to nominating members of the offensive and defensive teams, we are also requesting nominations for our 2nd annual Perseverance and Courage Award. For more information, visit www.msasports.net.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 5th, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 4 and the Gateway Grizzlies 1. Wild Things scored 2 in the bottom of the 4th to take this 4-1 lead, and they'll lead things off with Jamal Austin. Austin 1 for 2, struck out to begin the game, and a 2 RBI single his last time up. Molesky looking in, has his sign, here's the pitch. And Austin fouls this one back to the screen. Count goes to no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Austin, Rodriguez, and Har due up for your Wild Things here in the bottom of the 5th against Vince Molesky. Molesky back out there for his 5th inning of work. Molesky looking in, has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And Austin right up the middle, and that's a base hit. 2nd hit of the day for Jamal Austin as he reaches to begin the top of the 5th. Or the bottom of the 5th, and that'll bring up the 3rd baseman, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez 0 for 2 to this point, grounded out in the 1st and struck out in inning number 3. It's the 2nd time today the Wild Things have had the leadoff man reach. The leadoff man has also reached in inning number 3 for your Wild Things. Nobody out, bottom of the 5th. Jamal Austin on first. Molesky has his sign, checks Austin, the pitch. And Rodriguez grounded to 3rd, and it hops Bunselmeyer and goes into left field. Austin around 2nd, heading to 3rd. He'll be in there. The throw to 2nd is in time to get Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez tried to jump out of the way of that slide. Jamal Austin making it to 3rd on the play. So it'll be a single for Ricky Rodriguez and thrown out trying to go to 2nd base. Aggressive base running there by Rodriguez, but it does move Jamal Austin up to 3rd with 1 out. And that will bring up Brian Har. Actually, that will not be a base hit for Rodriguez. They give an E5 to Bunselmeyer. So Rodriguez not able to get a single. Infield in for Gateway. Runner at 3rd with 1 out. Har at the plate. Molesky has his sign, checks Austin the pitch, and hard to left field. Livesey makes the catch. Austin tags. Here's the throw to the plate, and it's not in time. A sac fly RBI for Brian Haar, and your Wild Things now take a 5-1 lead over the Gateway Grizzlies. Haar knew if he got that one out of the infield, it has a good chance of scoring Jamal Austin. He does just that, and the Wild Things add another insurance run. It's 5-1. Dave Popkins coming to the plate. Molesky looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch to Popkins. And he takes it for a strike on the inside corner. No balls and a strike. Popkins today 1 for 2, grounded out in the second, doubled and scored a run in inning number 4. Molesky has his sign. Here's the 0-1. Popkins to right center field. And this one will get down. Popkins around first, heading to second as it's cut off by Brandon Thomas. Throw in is not in time. Popkins in there with his second double of the day. For Popkins, doubles number 4 and 5 on the season as he stands in scoring position with 2 men out. And that'll bring up the left fielder, Nick Ferdinand. Ferdinand 1 for 2 with a single. He also flew out in the second. Steps in, runner at second, 2 men out. Wild Things lead 5-1 over the Gateway Grizzlies. Game 1 of this doubleheader. Molesky looking in to his catcher, Tyler Toole. Has his sign. Checks Popkins at second. Here's the pitch. And Ferdinand takes a strike. Count goes to 0-1. Ferdinand, a first pitch single in his last at-bat, part of a 2-run 4th inning. Molesky looking in. Has his sign. He's set the 0-1. Swing and a miss by Ferdinand, and the ball in the dirt, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Nick Ferdinand. Wild Things up 5-1 here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. Molesky looking in. Has his sign. He's set. Checks second, and the 0-2. Ferdinand checks his swing, and they say it's a ball. So the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes as it was in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 2 men out. Here in the bottom of the 5th, a run in on the sac fly by Brian Haar. Molesky looking in, has his sign, checks second, the 1-2. And Ferdinand pops it up. Behind second base, Seth Heck going out there. In comes Brown, and he makes a nice running catch, and it's in time for out number 3. But another run comes in the inning for your Wild Things on 2 hits, no errors, and a man left on base. After 5, the score, your Washington Wild Things 5 and the Gateway Grizzlies 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of inning number 6. And the score, your Washington Wild Things 5 and the Gateway Grizzlies 1. Wild Things adding another run on the sacrifice fly by Brian Haar in the bottom of the 5th. Last inning for the Gateway Grizzlies started out with a ground out by Ben Waldrop. Then John Bunselmeyer flew out. Logan Davis would double, steal third. And then Cody Livesey would ground out to end the inning. Due up here in the 6th, Seth Heck, Craig Masoni, and Brandon Thomas, 2, 3, and 4, facing off against Trevor Foss. Foss so far, 5 innings of work, just giving up the 1 run it was earned on 5 hits on the day. As Seth Heck making his way to the plate. Heck today, 0 for 2, hitting to a 6-4-3 double play in the first, and grounding out in inning number 4. Game 2 of this doubleheader today can be heard about 30 minutes after the conclusion of Game 1 this evening. So keep it tuned right here to the MSA Sports Network. Got another great game coming up for you, as it'll be Chase Cunningham taking on Dakota Smith in Game 2 of this doubleheader. Seth Heck stepping in at the plate, and Trevor Foss looking in, ready for the first pitch here in the top of the 6th. Foss looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike on Seth Heck. 0-1 the count on the leadoff man here in the top of the 6th. Wild Things lead this one 5-1. Foss set, here's the 0-1. And that one's low for a ball. Count goes even at 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count, no action in either bullpen, as both the Gateway and the Wild Things bullpen quiet. Here's the 1-1, and this one swung on and missed by Seth Heck, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. That ball in the dirt, and Heck just comes up empty on the swing. 1-2 the count, Wild Things lead 5-1, top of the 6th. Trevor Foss looking in, and now he'll step off as he wants to go through the signs again. Sunny skies here over Consol Energy Park. The Wild Things have had some good weather lately. Here's the 1-2. And Heck grounded to the left side and foul past the third base coach, Phil Warren. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and nobody out. For the Gateway Grizzlies on the base paths, Phil Warren manages over at third base, and then they rotate a player at first base every half inning. The 1-2. Check swing, and he goes around, says the home plate umpire. Pollock has to get the ball and throw to first to complete the strikeout. Strikeout and a 2-3 putout, and that's out number 1 here in the top of the 6th. That's only the second strikeout on the day for Trevor Foss, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Craig Masoni. Masoni in this one, 1 for 2, struck out in the first, doubled and scored a run in inning number 4. Wild Things lead 5-1 here with 1 out in the top of inning number 6. Foss has his sign. Here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss there by Masoni. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Trevor Foss, comes in today leading the team with 41 strikeouts in 59 innings of work. Foss has his sign, the 0-1. And that one's high for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Craig Masoni. 5 complete games for Trevor Foss. So far, 5 1/3 here in this 7-inning game. Here's the 1-1. And that one's low for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. And if you were wondering, the Frontier League record for complete games in a season is 9. So Trevor Foss quickly approaching that number. Foss set, here's the 2-1. And that one's a called strike as well. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Count even here on Craig Masoni. 1 out in the top of the 6th. Wild Things leading 5-1. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Foss strikes him out. Pollock tags him out, and that is out number 2 here in the 6th. 2 away, 3 strikeouts on the day for Trevor Foss, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Brandon Thomas. Thomas 1 for 2, struck out in the second and hit an RBI single in inning number 4. 2 outs, top of the 6th, and the Wild Things lead this one 5-1 over the Gateway Grizzlies, game 1 of this doubleheader. Trevor Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And this ball lined back to the screen, and it'll be foul. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Brandon Thomas. 2 up, 2 down as Foss has struck out the first 2 men here in the 6th. Has had 2 1-2-3 innings today in the 2nd and the 3rd. Here's the pitch. This one swung on and missed as well at a pitch in the dirt, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on Brandon Thomas. Thomas starting out in center field here in game 1. Foss looks in, has his sign. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2, and 2 men out here in the top of the 6th. Trevor Foss rolling, just allowing 5 hits on the day, and just the 1 earned run. Foss has his sign, the 1-2. Swinging a foul ball off to the left-hand side and back into the seats. So the count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Brandon Thomas. Both bullpens, as we said, quiet, as both starting pitchers have been pitching well. Vince Molesky's gotten into some trouble the last 3 innings. Foss set, here's the 1-2. And that one's outside. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes as Foss couldn't get the chase from Brandon Thomas. 2-2, 2 men out, top of the 6th. Foss looks in, has his sign. Here's the 2-2. And a swing and a miss. Trevor Foss strikes out the side. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. 1, 2, 3 go the Grizzlies here in the 6th. On to the bottom of the 6th, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 5 and the Gateway Grizzlies 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. On to the bottom of the 6th. And the score, your Washington Wild Things 5 and the Gateway Grizzlies 1. Last inning, Wild Things would add on a run as Jamal Austin started things off with a single. Then Ricky Rodriguez reached on an error and was thrown out at second, trying to get to second base. Brian Harr would then hit a sacrifice fly that scored Austin and made it 5-1. Dave Popkins would double following the sac fly, and then Nick Ferdinand would fly out to end the inning. Due up here in the 6th, Jimmy Yezzo, Logan Uxa, and Kyle Pollock, 6, 7, and 8, facing Vince Molesky. Molesky out there for his 6th inning of work. And if the score holds up and the Wild Things keep the lead, this could be a complete game loss if Molesky can get through this 6th inning of work. Jimmy Yezzo striding towards the plate here to lead things off in the bottom of the 6th. Yezzo on the day 0 for 2, grounded out in the 2nd and reached on an error in inning number 4. Vince Molesky looking in, has his sign, he's set, here's the pitch. And Yezzo takes the first pitch on the outside corner for a strike, no balls and 1 strike. 0-1 the count on the DH for your Washington Wild Things. Molesky set in the 0-1, and Yezzo grounds this one to first. Masoni handles it, takes it to the bag himself, and that's in time for out number 1. 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th with the Wild Things leading 5-1 here in game 1 of the doubleheader, and that'll bring up the first baseman Logan Uxa. Uxa on the day 1 for 1, singled and scored a run in the 3rd and walked in inning number 4. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th, looking to get on base with the Wild Things up by 4. Trevor Foss still in the dugout, looking to go for a complete game in this one. Molesky looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. Uxa takes way inside for a ball. Count goes to 1-0. 1 ball, no strikes on the first baseman for the Wild Things, Logan Uxa. Molesky has his sign. Here's the 1-0. And Uxa takes a strike. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. As we said in the beginning of this game, Logan Uxa's walks have gone up considerably over the past week. Walked 5 times in the series with Traverse City. The 1-1, and that one's inside. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. Logan Uxa has 10 walks and 10 strikeouts on the season. Molesky set in the 2-1, and Uxa takes this one outside. Ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. He's already walked once today. And now ahead of Molesky, 3 balls and a strike. Molesky has his sign, the 3-1. And Uxa ground ball to first. Craig Masoni handles it again. He'll take it to the bag himself again. And it's in time for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for the Wild Things here in the bottom of the 6th. And that'll bring up the catcher, Kyle Pollock. Pollock 0 for 1. Struck out in the 3rd and hit a sacrifice fly in inning number 4. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Wild Things lead 5-1. Game 1 of this doubleheader between your Washington Wild Things and the Gateway Grizzlies. Molesky set. Here's the pitch. And Pollock fouls this one off to the right. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things catcher. The primary catcher for the Washington Wild Things, Alex McKeon, the backup, we'll most likely see in Game 2 of this doubleheader. Molesky set. Here's the 0-1. And Pollock checks his swing, but it actually fouls off the bat, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. As Pollock tried to hold up his swing there, but the pitch happened to hit off the bottom part of his bat and landed in front of home plate. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Molesky's sign. Here's the 0-2. And Pollock just a lazy pop-up right side in foul territory. Toole giving chase, and it just gets over the dugout. Nice catch by a Wild Things fan, reaching over top of the dugout and making a nice one-handed catch. They actually announced a great play made by the fan here at Consol Energy Park. And it's no balls and 2 strikes on Kyle Pollock. Vince Molesky looking in. Has his sign. Here's the 0-2. And Pollock checks his swing. Did he go around? Yes, says Mike Martin on the bases. That is a strikeout, and that is out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Wild Things here in the 6th. Going to the top of the 7th, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 5 and the Gateway Grizzlies 1. Wild Things looking for the win. Foss looking for the complete game. Come right back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
Come out to Consol Energy Park throughout the entire 2016 season to support Andrew Heck, Jamal Austin, Dave Popkins, and the rest of your 2016 Washington Wild Things. The 6-game homestand continues this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, July 1st through the 3rd, when the Wild Things play a 3-game series with the Florence Freedom. It all starts on July 1st, a 7:05 first pitch for Game 1 of the series, and a fantastic fireworks display following the game. So watch a good game and stick around for some fireworks afterwards. Then the series continues Saturday at 7:05 when the first 1,000 fans get a pair of sunglasses presented by Mylan. The series will conclude Sunday, July 3rd at 5:05 p.m. when it's a Kids Sunday. All kids get to run the bases after the game. Come out to Consol Energy Park all season. For tickets, go to www.washingtonwildthings.com or call the box office at 866-456-WILD. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the 7th, and your Wild Things lead this one 5-1. 7-inning games here in doubleheader. Game 1 of the doubleheader. Your Wild Things lead 5-1. Game 2 of this doubleheader can be heard again right here on the MSA Sports Network about a half hour following the conclusion of this one. Wild Things looking for win number 21 in the season. Foss looking for complete game number 6 as he'll face Tyler Toole, Blake Brown, and Ben Waldrop 5, 6, and 7 here in the top of the 7th. Tyler Toole stepping in to lead things off. Toole on the day, 1 for 2, singled in the 4th, and hit a fly out in inning number 2. Trevor Foss taking the mound, going for his 6th complete game of the season. Foss has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's low in the dirt for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Want to know the count of Foss's complete games? 1 has been a 7-inninger, and 1 has been a 6-inning rain-shortened complete game. Here's the 1-0. And that one's low for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. Foss falling behind here in the top of inning number 7. Trying to get through this 7th inning and get his complete game. Foss has his sign. Here's the 2-0. And this ball lined down the right field line, just foul, as it'll roll towards the Wild Things bullpen. The count goes to 2-1. 2 balls and a strike, nobody out, top of the 7th. Wild Things lead 5-1. Game 1 of this doubleheader. Trevor Foss looking in. Has his sign and the 2-1. And this ball grounded towards first. Uxa, nice sliding stop. Flip to Foss. And a great play for out number 1 here in the top of the 7th. Uxa going to his knees, making a backhanded pick and flipping to Foss in time for out number 1. That'll bring up the right fielder Blake Brown. Brown 0 for 2. Was robbed of a base hit in the 2nd on a diving catch by Jamal Austin and grounded out in the 4th inning. Foss looking into Kyle Pollock, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Brown takes for a strike. No balls and a strike. Foss out ahead here of the first batter in the top of the 7th. 0-1, 1 man out. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And Brown takes this one just low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1, 1 man out here in the top of the 7th. Trevor Foss facing Blake Brown. Foss set, here's the 1-1. And this one grounded foul off to the left. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wild Things look to get back to playing 500 baseball here at home. Coming into today, they had an 8-9 record here at Consol Energy Park as compared to 12-9 on the road. Looking to improve to 9-9 here at Consol. Foss has his sign, the 1-2. And that one's in the dirt. Nicely blocked by Kyle Pollock as Foss couldn't get the chase. And the count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2, 1 man out, top of the 7th. Game 1 of this doubleheader. Wild Things looking for win number 21 on the season. Foss set, here's the 2-2. And this one's fouled away. Count remains even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 with one out here in the top of the 7th. Trevor Foss on the hill. Foss, start number 9, has 5 complete games in his first 8 starts of the season. Foss has his sign, the 2-2. And this one just high for a ball, and the count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. For Foss, it's only his second full count of the game, as he's been working very efficiently on the mound. He's set, here's the 3-2. And that one's just high for ball 4. His first walk of the day for Trevor Foss. Walk number 7 on the season in what would be this his 66th inning pitched. He had 59 innings and 6 walks coming into this one. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Ben Waldrop. Waldrop 0 for 2, grounded out in the 3rd and grounded out in inning number 5. Runner at first, 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Wild Things lead 5-1. Foss has his sign, he's set. Checks first in the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike at the knees. No balls and a strike. Very fast-moving game, as we're at an hour and a half of game time, and we're almost through this first game of the doubleheader. 0-1 the count, 1 man out. Trevor Foss has his sign. Checks first, and the 0-1. And this one fouled away, back into the seats on the left side, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Ben Waldrop, the designated hitter. Was playing at first base to begin the season for the Gateway Grizzlies. Craig Masoni had some time over at third base. But now Waldrop in there as the DH and Masoni over at first base. Foss has his sign. Checks first and the 0-2. And this ball grounded to second. Austin Wobrock to second for 1 on to first. And it's in time for the double play. And you can put it in the books. Your Wild Things win. Final score 5-1 in game 1 of the doubleheader. Trevor Foss, the complete game victory. And your Wild Things win 5-1. We'll be right back here on the MSA Sports Network with the Washington Wild Things postgame show. Wild Things win 5-1.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Final score in game 1 of this doubleheader. Your Wild Things win it 5-1. Going to take a look at the scoring recap here in this one. Through the first 2 innings, scoreless, Wild Things were set 6 up, 6 down. For the Gateway Grizzlies, Cody Livesey singled, then a double play by Seth Heck and a strikeout by Craig Masoni. And the Gateway Grizzlies set 3 up, 3 down in the second inning. Wild Things would get on the board first. In the bottom of the 3rd, Logan Uxa would single to start things. Then Kyle Pollock struck out, and Austin Wobrock doubled, putting runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 away before Jamal Austin came through with a 2 RBI single into left field that scored both Uxa and Wobrock. Austin would be thrown out as he got caught between 1st and 2nd, got in a rundown, and was tagged out. The inning would end when Ricky Rodriguez struck out. Then the Gateway Grizzlies got on the board in the top of inning number 4. Following that bottom of the 3rd for the Wild Things. 2 groundouts to start the inning as Livesey and Heck both grounded out. Then Craig Masoni doubled and Brandon Thomas came through with an RBI single, making it 2-1 Wild Things. Tyler Toole would single and Blake Brown would ground out to end the inning. Then in the bottom of the 4th, Wild Things adding an insurance run. Brian Harr would strike out to begin things. Then Dave Popkins doubled. Nick Ferdinand singled to put runners at 1st and 3rd. And Jimmy Yezzo a ground ball to 1st, and Craig Masoni overthrew second base. It allowed Dave Popkins to come in to score and give the Wild Things a 3-1 lead. Runners were at 1st and 3rd again with just 1 out. Then Logan Uxa walked to load the bases. And Kyle Pollock, a sacrifice fly, brought in Nick Ferdinand and made the score 4-1 Washington Wild Things. Austin Wobrock would ground out to end the inning. Then in the bottom of the 5th, the Wild Things added on again. Jamal Austin singled to start things. Ricky Rodriguez reached on an error, and then a sac fly by Brian Harr allowed Austin to come in. Rodriguez was thrown out trying to get the second base on that error. So there were 2 outs and a run in, 5-1 Wild Things. And Dave Popkins would double and Nick Ferdinand would fly out. The Wild Things would go 1-2-3 in the 6th, and Trevor Foss finished the game striking out the side for the Grizzlies in the 6th, and then getting Tyler Toole to ground out, walked Blake Brown, and got a 6-3 double play to end the game in the top of the 7th. The win goes to Trevor Foss. It's his 6th complete game of the season, a 7-inning complete game, but still a complete game is a complete game as he's chasing the Frontier League record of 9 complete games in a season. Currently has 6 here in the month of June. Final line for Trevor Foss. Foss went 7 innings in this one, giving up 1 run. It was earned on 5 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Also a complete game for Vince Molesky, although he got the loss. He went 6 innings, giving up 5 runs, 3 earned, 7 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Game 2 of this doubleheader coming up in just about a half hour here on the MSA Sports Network. First pitch right now would probably be around 8:07 p.m. So go get a snack, go get something to eat, and come back for Game 2 of Washington Wild Things baseball. Chase Cunningham versus Dakota Smith in that one. But the final score here from Game 1 of this doubleheader, your Wild Things win it 5-1 here at Consol Energy Park.